case. This is a final hearing on the Odell child. This is a continuation of we started this, actually we started it quite some time ago. Started it on February 19th, reconvened on March 14th. So we're going to finish this today. Mr. Alvi is with us for the department. Ms. Williamson's with us for CASA. Ms. Lucero is with us representing the children. Mr. Mcloy is with us representing the intervenor, Ms. Salazar, who is also with us. Mr. Purdle represents the mother, Ms. Fisher. Neither Mr. Purdle nor Ms. Fisher are here. I don't know. Here's Cody Purdle to see what he has to say. All right, Mr. Purdle, if you'd unmute.
She won't answer or respond to us, and her phone is now turned off.
Okay, well, this is the third time we've tried to finish this final. We're out of time, so we're going to go ahead and proceed in her absence. Okay, Mr. Alvi, I have Yolanda Novak and Emmanuel Verandi.
Yeah, Yolanda Novak is who I'm going to need, Your Honor.
Okay. Do we know who Emmanuel Verandi is? No? Okay.
Judge, if you can remind me, I'm not sure where we were at. Did I introduce any exhibits at the last hearing?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't believe you had.
Okay, thank you, Will.
No, I couldn't tell you that. The last thing I noted was when we started this case on February 19th, I had said that if, I guess from reading my notes, mother was contemplating signing a relinquishment. And I said if she had signed it before we reconvened, I'd terminate her on the K ground alone. Right. So I take it that we're here today means she did not sign an affidavit of relinquishment.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So that's where we're at. So, Mr. Alvi, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would, before I ask for any testimony, Your Honor, I would ask that we admit Petitioner's Exhibit 1, which is a certified copy of the original petition that was filed in this case with a copy of the affidavit that was with it.
All right. Any objections?
No objection, Judge.
All right.
No objection.
Petitioner's 1's admitted.
We would offer Petitioner's Exhibit number 2, Your Honor, which is a certified copy of the temporary orders from this court.
Objections?
No objection.
No objection.
Okay. Petitioner's 2's admitted.
Petitioner's 3, Your Honor, would be a certified copy of the status order in this case.
Objections?
No objection.
No objection.
Petitioner's 3's admitted.
We would offer Petitioner's Exhibit 4, Your Honor, which is the family plan of service. It was signed by Miss.
No objection.
Ms. Fisher.
Miss Fisher, and it was also signed by Mr. Odell before he passed away, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Petitioner's 4's admitted.
And finally, Your Honor, Petitioner's number 5, which is business records affidavit of the drug screens that were taken from Miss Fisher up through February of this year.
No
Okay.
objection.
Petitioner's 5's admitted.
I would call Miss Yolanda Novak, Your Honor.
All right. I don't know that I have those exhibits, but I don't think I need anything except possibly the drug screens.
Okay.
If somebody could maybe get those, email those directly to me, not to Brittany, because I'm in the courtroom.
And Leslie, if you would please work on that for me. We would call Miss Yolanda Novak as a witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Novak, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Alvi.
Thank you. Miss Novak, you're a St. Francis Ministries permanency specialist.
Yes.
And in that capacity, you are familiar with Cash Odell, who is the child the subject of this case?
Yes.
And Cash is how old?
Oh, I blanked. He's just over a year. He turned a year in December.
And where is he currently placed?
With paternal grandmother.
Is that Catherine Salazar?
Yes.
And how long has he been with Catherine Salazar?
Since June 2024.
And has she been meeting all of his needs at this time?
Yes.
She's made sure that he's attended all of his medical appointments.
Yes.
Are there any special needs or special issues with Cash that the court should be aware of?
Nothing new. No.
And Ms. Salazar has made it clear that she wants Cash to be in her care permanently on a full-time basis.
Yes.
And there's a possibility, if parental rights were terminated from Ms. Fisher, that Ms. Salazar would adopt the child.
Yes.
Any concerns that you might have with Ms. Salazar or with the care that she's provided to Cash at this time?
No.
That's a home free of drugs and any crime or criminal background.
Yes.
Cash is bonded to Miss Salazar.
Yes.
And she's provided for him, and there's no reason that she could not be provided. She could not provide for him for the future.
Correct. Yes.
Cash's father, Mr. Odell, passed away during the length of this case.
Yes, he did.
Cash's mother, Chrissy Fisher, was originally living with Mr. Odell in Pampa, Texas. But after Mr. Odell's passing, she moved to, is it Pilot Point?
I believe it's Pottsboro, sir.
Pottsboro, okay. But that's in East Texas.
Yes.
During the length of the case, Miss Fisher tested positive for illegal substances several times, primarily before Mr. Odell passed away.
Yes.
Part of the reason that Cash was removed from Miss Fisher was because of some substance abuse issues that she had.
Correct.
Would you agree with me that at the time of the removal that Miss Fisher had endangered Cash through her own actions?
Yes.
And that she had provided a dangerous environment to Cash because of her substance abuse and the actions that she and Mr. Odell were taking?
Yes.
There was some domestic violence. There was some instability from their home. They didn't have a regular source of income, those sorts of things.
Correct.
At the start of the case, the court ordered that Miss Fisher complete services through a service plan.
Yes.
That service plan was set forth in writing, and Miss Fisher signed that service plan.
Yes.
The things in that service plan were services that Miss Fisher needed to complete in order to have Cash returned to her care.
Yes.
Those would be reasonable, necessary steps that she needed to do that the court has ordered that she complete.
Yes.
Miss Fisher was working on those services up through December of 2024.
Yes.
Had she tried to establish a stable home?
Yes.
And then she was working in up through December of 2024?
Yes.
Sometime after the first of the year, did things seem to fall apart again for Miss Fisher?
Yes.
Did she lose contact with you?
In February, she started to lose contact. Yes.
Isn't one of the conditions or services set forth in her service plan that she maintain contact with you on a regular basis?
Yes.
And in March, did you have any contact with her at all?
I did not. I tried phone calls. I emailed her. Excuse me. I also tried to text her with no response. There is an assigned courtesy worker that is in her area that would go to see her. He made the same attempts and visited her home and wasn't able to make contact with her in March or April.
What's that assigned courtesy worker's name?
Emmanuel. I'm sorry, I have to look up his last
Verandi?
name.
Is it
Yes.
Verandi?
Yes,
That's our
thank you.
mystery. That's our mystery
Yes.
person in the waiting room.
Oh,
And
yes,
Judge,
he's
I apologize. I should have remembered that. Now, Ms. Novak, there are also concerns that Ms. Fisher has begun using substances, illegal substances again.
yes.
Have you asked her to drug screen?
I asked, she drug screened in January, and that was the one that came back as it wasn't able to read, possibly diluted. And when I talked to her about it in February, she admitted that she had used meth. And then I went over that she would need to drug screen again and possibly do a new OSAR, and she didn't.
She didn't drug screen in February when you asked her to re-drug screen.
No, I don't think I asked her because I dropped contact with her after that.
And then you haven't been able to ask her to drug screen for March or April because you don't have a way to get hold of her.
Correct.
So you agree with me that she's not complying with the service plan requirements that she regularly or that she drug screen when asked?
Correct.
She had a job at the first of the year. She lost that job. Is that right?
Yes.
And is it one of the services set forth in her service plan that she maintained regular employment?
Yes.
Has she been able to provide you with proof of employment at this time?
No, she has not.
Was she asked to do a parenting class?
Yes.
Has she completed a parenting class?
She did complete parenting.
Did she provide you with documentation of completion of that parenting class?
She did. Yes, a certificate.
And was she asked to do counseling?
Yes, she was.
And did she complete her counseling?
She did complete the required amount of counseling, and she was continuing counseling with Texoma Community Center where she is. I don't know if she is still attending or not.
So from the time that Mr. Odell died in the late summer until the first of the year, she was actually making some progress on doing her services.
Yes.
And then since the first of the year, would you say that she's lost ground and that she's not made any progress?
Correct.
Would you agree with me that it would be unsafe to return cash to her care at this time?
I do.
Especially since we don't know where she's at. We can't get hold of her.
Correct.
Would you also agree with me that it would be contrary to Cash's general welfare to return him to his mother at this time?
Yes.
And that's because, again, we don't know what kind of circumstances she's in, and he's doing well in Miss Salazar's care.
Correct. Yes.
Do you know when the last time Miss Fisher had any contact with Cash was?
I believe it was the end of January, around the 28th.
And prior to that, was she having regular virtual visits with Cash?
She was having virtual visits, and then she's had a couple in-person visits. She did come up to Pampa and had a virtual visit in December. And then Miss Salazar was able to go to her area, and she was able to have an in-person visit I believe it was January 23rd.
Would you agree with me that virtual visits for a infant child don't really help in building a bond between mom and child?
Yes, it's difficult.
Would you also agree with me that 2 or 3 in-person visits in about a year would be considered insignificant contact or unsignificant contact with the child?
Yes.
Just to be clear, this child has been in the care of the department for more than 9 months.
Yes.
And it was partially Ms. Fisher's actions that caused Cash to be in the care of the department.
Yes.
Based upon all of that and what you know about this case and what you've read through your review of the history of the case, would you agree with me that Ms. Fisher has knowingly placed or knowingly allowed Cash to remain in conditions or surroundings which endangered the physical or emotional well-being of Cash?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that Ms. Fisher engaged in conduct or knowingly placed the child in an environment that caused Cash, the environment which endangered Cash's physical or emotional well-being?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that Ms. Fisher has constructively abandoned her child who has been in the care of the department for more than 6 months?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that the department, including St. Francis Ministries, has made reasonable efforts in an attempt to have Cash returned to Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Those reasonable efforts would be maintaining contact with her even when she didn't provide us with contact information,
Yes.
providing a courtesy worker when she moved outside of our area,
Yes.
helping her find resources to work the services that were set forth in the service plan.
Yes.
Would you also agree with me that she has not regularly visited or maintained significant contact with Cash?
Yes.
And that she has not demonstrated an ability to have a safe and stable home environment for Cash?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that Ms. Fisher has failed to comply with the provisions of a court order that established the actions necessary for her to have the child returned to her?
Yes.
Do you believe then it would be in the best interest of Cash for Chrissy Fisher's parental rights to be terminated at this time?
I do.
Are you asking the court to terminate those parental rights because that's in Cash's best interest?
I am. Yes.
If the court does do that, are you asking the court to continue the department as permanent managing conservator of Cash while we work with Ms. Salazar and trying to determine what is in the a possible adoption with Cash?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Purdle, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Mcloy?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Lucero?
Just a couple, Ms. Novak, and I'm not sure if you would know this, but you're asking for the department to be named a permanent managing conservator and to work with Ms. Salazar if Ms. Fisher's rights are terminated to see if she can adopt cash.
Yes.
Okay, has there been any steps taken by Ms. Salazar, or do you know, to get that process started?
Yes, she has been working with an agency, Arrow, to become licensed.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nowak, in reading the final report, is it true that Ms. Fisher tested positive for marijuana in April of 2024?
Yes, I show that it was a 0.1 level, sir.
Okay. And then I also read in the report that she was positive for opiates and benzo in July of 2024. Is that a true statement?
Yes, sir. A level 257.
All right. And then she refused to test in August of 2024. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I read in the report also that Cash was, when he was born, well, first of all, Ms. Fisher was positive for methamphetamine, benzo, and opiates when Cash was born. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Cash's meconium was positive for codeine and opiates.
Yes.
And in reading the report, did Cash experience observable withdrawal symptoms from the controlled substances at birth?
I think he had some. I did not have the case at the very first because they had family-based services.
Okay. Well,
But he,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And so I don't recall if he did or not, sir.
Okay. Well, if the report I read said that he was born with observable withdrawal symptoms, you wouldn't have any reason to dispute that?
No, sir.
Okay. So would you say, and Mr. Alvi, have you pled the R ground? Are you asking for the R ground?
I'm not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Well, then I'm not going to go into it anymore. Okay. I believe then that's all I have. Anybody else have further questions for Ms. Novak?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, then. Mr. Alvi, did you have any other witnesses?
I would call Emmanuel Verandi, Your Honor.
Okay. The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alvi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Verandi, how are you employed?
Yeah,
How
I
are
can
you?
hear you.
Yes, sir. How are you employed?
I'm doing well.
Can you hear me at all, Mr. Verandi?
Yes, now yes.
Okay. How are you employed? Who do you work for?
I work for the Texas Family Initiative and for
Okay.
Empower, contracted with Empower.
All right. And in that capacity as a caseworker with Empower, were you asked to be a courtesy worker for a lady by the name of Chrissy Fisher?
Yes.
And when were you asked to begin helping Miss Fisher?
In October last year, in October 2024.
And how many times did you have contact with Miss Fisher?
In the month of October, November, December, January, February, March, February, yes, until February.
Okay, so was it just one time per month for those months?
Yes, one time a month.
Did you see anything or observe anything from December of 2024 until March of 2025 that caused you concerns?
Yes.
What did you observe that caused you concerns?
In February, when I went for a visit, arrived to a apartment of Mrs. Fisher, and the door was cracked open. I knocked at the door. Nobody was answering the door. Then I walk again. I knock again. I knocked, and I heard somebody answering the door, and she came out at the door. She stood up at the door, and I'm sorry. And she asked me what I'm doing there. I said, I came, the door was cracked open. I knocked at the door, and here I am. And she said, I don't want you to get in. I said, that's fine. I said, I asked her, what's going on? She said, I'm done with this. I went back to my old stuff. And I asked her, what is your old stuff? Yeah. She said, I relapsed. That's what she told me. And I said, really? She said, yes. And I don't want to, she said, I don't want to talk about that anymore. You can just go. I said,
now, Miss Verandi, Mr. Verandi, let me stop you there. Did you attempt to go see her again in March of 2024?
for the second time in March? No, just one time.
Did you attempt, or excuse me, in 2025? Would you agree with me that what you observed the last time you saw Miss Fisher would not be appropriate conditions for a 1-year-old child to be placed in that home?
I say yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Verandi. Your Honor, I'll pass it with you.
All right, Mr. Purdle, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Mcloy,
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Lucero.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, okay. Can Mr. Verandi be excused?
Please, Your Honor.
No
No
objection.
objection.
Mr. Verandi, thank you for your testimony. I'll remove you so you can go about your afternoon's business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Alvi, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
All right, thank you. Mr. Purdle, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Judge, rest.
Thank you. Mr. Mcloy, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Lucero, recommendations?
Your Honor, I recommend that it's in Cash's best interest for Ms. Fisher's parental rights to be terminated, and that his placement remain with Ms. Salazar, and hopefully they can move forward. If you grant the termination with adoption of Cash, the child's been with her and her husband for an extended period of time. They're bonded. He's done well, and so I think that's what's best in Cash's best interest.
All right, thank you. Give me just a minute here.
Judge, do you want to hear from CASA?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, please. Ms. Williamson.
We agree with Ms. Lucero.
All right. Nita, does CASA want to stay on this case or be dismissed?
We want to stay on.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, then, based upon the evidence I've heard today, as well as the exhibits that have been admitted, I do find that it's in the best interest of the child, Cash Odell, that the parental rights of the mother, Chrissy Fisher, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code, section 161.001, subsections B, 1D, E, N as in Nancy, and O. I'll name the department permanent managing conservator. I'll continue Cash's current placement with Ms. Salazar. I will continue Ms. Lucero as Cash's attorney and CASA in this case. All other court-appointed relationships will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. Mr. Purdle, if you have contact with Ms. Fisher, explain to her her appellate and her de novo rights.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that will conclude this hearing. I will be back at 12:45 to call a Gray County adversary hearing on the Blaylock child. So we will be in recess till then. Everybody have a good rest of your week.
Thank you,
Judge,
Judge.
did you announce the next hearing date?
Oh, I did not. I didn't. Thank you, Leslie. Our next review hearing will be on July 16th, 2025. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket to see what time that hearing will take place for those of you that will still be involved. So Okay, y'all have a good rest of your week.
You-
Thank you.